Now let's discuss some more detail about launchSettings.json file. So let's click on this file and we can see that this file is containing two profiles. First one is with the IIS Express and the second one is with the name of your web API project, right? This IIS Express version is a very lightweighted version of the IIS actual server, and this is available only in the Windows operating system. And if we want to run our application in another operating system like Mac OS or Linux, in that case, we will need a Kestrel web server, right? Now we will see how we can switch the profile between the IIS Express and the Kestrel web server. By default, our application is using IIS Express. We can see over here, right? And these are the default settings which will be run when we will be running our application with this IIS Express. We can see over here, by default settings, launch browser is true, and this is the environment variable which is it is being used. And by default, we are running our application in this development environment. We can see over here. And in case if we are running our application with the Kestrel web server, then the settings will be used in this. We can see it is using command name this, and the launch browser and URL is this. If you remember in our previous videos, when we were running our application using CLI, then the URL was this one, localhost 5001 and the 5000, right? One is one is with HTTP and other is with HTTPS. But if we are running our application with the IIS Express, then our application URL would be this one. We can see over here, localhost 19622, right? We can always update our port number according to our need. Now let's run the application with this default IIS Express. So let's run our application. Application is built succeeded. Now it is loading in the browser, and in the browser we can see it is using the URL this one, localhost 44328 with Swagger, right? And why this is using this port number, we will check. Let's check what is the main reason behind this. So let's go to our application and we can see that if we are working with SSL, then this port number will be working, and if we are working with the HTTP, then this port number will be used. Now let's copy this URL with HTTP and just go to the Chrome browser and let's paste it. We need to append Swagger here, and we can see now it is using this port number 44328, right? Let's go to the application. Now let's switch the application. So for switching, let me stop the application. And now this time we would be using this one, my first web API, this profile. So for that, we need to go here and we need to select this one with the name of your project, my first web API. We can see. So select it. Now what will happen? We have selected this Kestrel web server. So now this IIS Express will not work. Now this time it will this Kestrel web server will work, right? So let's click on this button. So let's run the application. So it's in process. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. We can see this time we are getting this window, and this time it is loading the application with this URL, right? So let's minimize this. We can see over here now this time it is using this URL localhost 50001. So let's go to the application. We can see now this time it is using this port number 5001, right? We can see here localhost 5001, and in the browser the same we are getting. Now if we check that, and if we refresh the previous URL, so let's see, now we can see that now this URL is no longer working, right? Because this time it is using with the Kestrel web server, not the IIS, right? So that's why it is not working. So always remember that when we are working with Visual Studio, we can always switch between the profiles, right? According to our need, we can decide which profile we want to use.